Commander Shepard.
Illusive Man. I thought we'd be meeting face to face.
At the core, the Illusive Man is an evil good guy when introduced to us in-game, in Mass Effect 2. His first real intro came to us though through the novel which was set in between the first two games, which was called Mass Effect Ascension, where there's not much ambiguity over how he's portrayed. Out to strengthen humanity as much as possible and willing to do anything, hurt anyone, and deal with anyone to make this happen, he's definitely not a good guy here. We're going to take you through everything we know about the Illusive Man from both canon, from BioWare, and also to add in our own speculation to fill in some gaps in between.
The Illusive Man is the elusive, obviously, secretive and well-informed leader of Cerberus. He has close-cropped silver-grey hair with steely blue eyes, which appear to be prosthetic. The Illusive Man's real name and his life before Cerberus are both long forgotten by most. For years, the Illusive Man has been using Cerberus and his immense network of contacts to achieve his goal, that of making humanity ascendant above all other races. He is described as having the best and worst traits of humanity rolled into one man.
So the Illusive Man was a normal civilian with a job and a family until the discovery of alien life. Not long after the Battle of Shaanxi, an email circulated throughout the internet calling for humanity to take its rightful place and assert its power to its new alien contacts. Alliance intelligence could not locate the originator of the email, but referred to him as an Illusive Man in press releases to try and dismiss the human-centric diatribe. The name stuck, and the Illusive Man founded Cerberus, a human-centric splinter group. He was responsible for breaking Cerberus away from the Alliance military and building up Cord Hislop Aerospace as a cover for the organization's shadow operations. His justification is that if humanity is to survive, sacrifices must be made for the greater good. The Alliance doesn't understand this, Cerberus does. In terms of appearance, the Illusive Man again is dressed in an impeccably futuristic style suit, combined with the casual swagger of a charming billionaire. He also seems to possess unique patterns on his irises. It is currently unknown whether these grant him any additional abilities or are simply aesthetic.
The Illusive Man believes that the political party Terra Firma has a part to play in humanity's ascension and even used an assassination in order to put the right man, Charles Saracino, in power. The Illusive Man's beliefs that biotics are the future of humanity led him to order the sabotage and detonation of Eldfell Ashland Energy starships over human colonies to ensure biotic children would be born. Somehow, likely through unsavory means, the Illusive Man claimed one of these biotic children as a baby and gave her to Paul Grayson to raise as his own daughter. A decade later, he planted Cerberus operatives into the Ascension project to take advantage of the Alliance's more sophisticated biotic research.
He also has an interest in the Quarians and their migrant fleet. The Illusive Man does not trust an alien species that effectively has the largest armada of ships in the galaxy. However, he is also greatly impressed by the Quarians' technological expertise, namely their creation of the Geth and their continued survival despite the odds stacked against them. This curiosity has led him to seek the transmission codes of the migrant fleet in order to spy on them.
His long-term plans are ultimately unknown, but it is known that he has many different projects in motion at any given time, all factoring into helping humanity achieve its rightful place, as he puts it, in the galaxy. Currently, it seems that his main focus is on the Reapers, realizing the vast threat they pose to humanity's survival, but also acknowledging the benefits of their technology. He dedicates his vast resources in an effort to harness their power by any means necessary.
So we'll go through some of the chronological appearances, as in chronology of the Mass Effect universe, not as in when the works came out. So the earliest one is from the comic ME Evolution. So it's revealed here that before founding Cerberus, the Illusive Man was actually known as Jack Harper, a mercenary and a part of a special group under the command of General Williams. Yes, that's the General Williams of Ashley Williams' fame and family. So during the First Contact War, during the First Contact War, Harper served on Shaanxi, and in the later days of the war, he, Ben Hislop, and Ava Kor were responsible for the capture of a Turian general named Decius Arterius. After heading back to General Williams' command compound, they analysed Turian troop movement patterns and determined that they were looking for something. Upon interrogating the captured Turian, Jack discovered that Decius was searching for an artifact. After capturing Decius' forces, Jack questions Decius further, who merely tells Harper to be careful about what he is looking for, as he might just find it. After leaving Ava in charge of the prisoners, Jack and Ben head into the cave where the artifact is located.
Moving through the cave, Ben and Jack find the artifact, which is guarded by strange robed figures. After neutralizing the guards, Harper and Ben find that the artifact's emissions prevent them from contacting Ava due to the interference. They examine the bodies of the guards more closely, but Ben approached the artifact, which activated. Jack tries to pull Ben out, and while he succeeds, Ben is killed in the process and Jack is knocked unconscious. After Jack regains consciousness, he notices Eva coming towards him, covered in blood, saying that when the light from the artifact activated distracted her, the Turians ambushed and captured her after that happened. Jack asks what happened, but Decius shows up and says that is what he would like to know. Jack falls unconscious again as Decius orders his men to take the artifact aboard his ship.
So Jack awakens sometime later aboard the Turian ship, and after struggling with the guards and restraints, the Turians tell him to calm down, as they are there for his protection as much as theirs. Eva finally manages to get Jack to calm down as she is led into the room by Cerberus Arterius, who lets her comfort Jack. Eva tells Jack that they are both prisoners and that he's been in a coma for weeks and that Ben is dead. Eva says it must have been something in the cave and that Decius took the body. Sarah then cuts in saying that as far as they know, Jack is in perfect health. Then after Jack demands to know who he is, Sarah formally introduces himself and says that he should be thankful that they didn't leave him to die. Eva then calls Sarah out by saying that they are being taken to a prison camp on Palaven, the Turian homeworld. However, Sarah says she is mistaken and about a lot of things. Outside the window, they say Arcturus Station, the capital of the Systems Alliance. Sarah tells them the war is over and they are being taken home.
Aboard the station, they are welcomed by Williams, and after some words are exchanged, Decius is surprised that Williams would trade so many Turians back just for Jack and Ava. Ava then tackles Decius despite Jack telling her not to, and he is pulled off by Saren, who then comments to Decius that his guards don't do much. Decius says they have their uses and then communicates to them in a weird language which Jack actually understands. This doesn't escape Decius' notice, however, and he then turns to Williams saying that he should take the prisoners back by the treaty protocol. However, Williams says that they have been captive long enough and then tells them to leave. Jack is taken to a medbay where he is examined and has a conversation with Williams about what is really going on here. Williams says that he can't order Jack to take on a mission like that because he is resigning, but tells Jack not to give up. He then gives Jack and Ava his personal ship to pursue Decius and the artifact further.
In the hangar, Jack and Ava discuss what they will be doing. As they walk up the boarding ramp, Jack suddenly collapses. Ava rushes to Jack's side and says that she knew it was too early to leave as Jack needs more time to recover. And Jack then comes back and says that they don't have time to waste and that he's been having visions of destruction and they are linked to the artifact. When asked where they are supposed to go, Jack tells Ava they need to go to Ilium. While they're heading down to the planet, Jack tells Ava the artifact is here and he can feel it. It's very Jedi. After landing on Ilium and conversing with the locals, they take a cab to where they think it's hidden, and on the way, Ava questions why they brought it here, but Jack just ignores her and eventually finds what he is looking for. After landing at their destination, they leave the cab and start looking around, which is when Sarah and Decius' guards ambush them, and Jack and Ava run for their lives. However, they are eventually cornered, and one of the guards grabs Jack by the neck, and Ava turns and attempts to hit it on the head with the butt of her gun, but Jack tells her not to. The creature's hood falls and reveals Ben, who has been transformed into another cybernetic entity.
Jack tries to break free of Ben, but Saren catches up and tells Ben to release him, and then Jack tells Ava to run. Ava tries to get away up a ladder, but the ladder is brought down by Ben and she crashes into the rubble below. Saren then pulls Jack and Eva aboard a ship and they leave Ilium. While on board, Jack is interrogated about his experiences with the artifact on Shanxi and the aftermath of it. Saren tells Jack that he is clearly different from Ben and he wants to know why. Ben then tells his story and Jack just sits there and listens. After Ben is done, Saren then tells the three to prepare themselves as they are about to be the first humans to set foot on Palaven. Upon landing on Palaven, Desolus speaks to the people and Jack notices that he does know how to put on a show. Eva, however, says that she is curious why he doesn't lead them out in chains, but Jack says the council would not approve, but he wouldn't be surprised if this was a power grab. Later in the evening, Jack and Eva are being led along behind the artifact and are talking about how long it is taking. Eva says that Jack was lucky he was in a coma when coming back from Shanxi, but Jack says he doesn't mind the wait as he wanted to get a closer look at Palaven for a time. And it is impressive, and so is Desolus. Eva then asks how they even know the artifact is in there, but Jack says he can hear it, and Ben, who is behind them, says he can hear it as well. Jack then asks Ben what it is saying, and Ben just says that commands them to follow and protect it, and to prepare for something. This conversation isn't lost on Desolus, who is walking just a little behind the three and orders Harper brought before him.
And then later at the temple in Palaven, Jack is watching these kind of meta-Turians raising the monolith into the sky, and then quotes Clarke's third law, which Desolus, who was standing behind him, quotes back word for word. Jack then turns to Desolus and says that he doesn't know what he is dealing with, but Desolus counters by asking if he does, and tells Jack that the artifact was here for a reason. He has been preparing the temple for a while now, and leads Jack into a backroom lab where they are studying the artifact. Jack, however, notices that it is only a surface analysis and asks why they don't just bring it back to the lab. Desolus tells him that he would like to, but the now presented Veluvian priests wouldn't let him. Desolus says they can't tell him anything more about it, but Jack can, and he noticed back on Arcturus that the relic had changed him. So basically the end result was that Desolus then tells Jack that if he's not going to cooperate, perhaps Eva will, and then Jack basically says that she doesn't know anything and she can't crack, and then basically pleads with him to end the experiment of being a man of science and the lack of results. The guards then lead Jack to an observation room. Days later, Jack is still sitting in the same room, doing not much but staring at the weird writings all over the walls. He basically comes to a revelation and figures out what's going on. As he stands up, Desolus comes in and had said that he had discovered the same thing, and then Jack then tells him there is something that he needs to know, the truth. Desolus, however, dismisses him and tells him to behold the future. A legion of perfect Turians and destiny is at hand, and it begins now.
Yep, Jack tells Desolus that he can't do this, but his pleas fall on deaf ears and he orders Jack to be led away to a prison cell. While Jack is being led to his cell that he will eventually share with Eva, she suddenly appears and floors one of the guards with a swift kick, knocking the gun out of his hand. She then deals with the other one, and Jack lays out the first guard with a punch. He and Eva then head off to find Ben, but down the hallway find some priests clearing out the hallway. As they are observing them, Saren ambushes them. Jack then tries to persuade Saren what is really going on. He says that Desolus brought the artifact here for a reason, and that he has been duped. He says that he has read the history of the temple on the wall, despite Saren saying that no one has been able to read them, to which Jack counters that he can, and so can the so-called priests. Then they look through the hole that the priests dug and find another monolith inside the temple. Saren is in shock, and Jack explains what will happen and how eventually the entire Turian people will be converted into these proto-Turians. Saren tells Jack to shut up so he can think. Then Ben shows up and explains that the artifact wants all to be like him. Saren then reaches for his communicator and after contacting Palaven Command, declares an unsecured bioweapon emergency.
Saren then goes to where Desolus is inspecting his no longer docile troops, and after seeing his brother getting thrown around, he orders the guards to open fire. Jack joins the fight, leading the way through the Meta-Turians for Ben and Eva. He then asks them to help, and Eva tells Jack to help her as this isn't their fight. Jack and Eva discuss what the prospects are for Ben, and while Eva is hopeful, Jack isn't so hopeful as he knows that there is no place or any place far enough away to help him. Eva then says there is one thing they haven't tried and pulls her gun and shoots the monolith. Ben, working on instructions from the monolith, tackles Eva and knocks her into a wall.
Desolace then corners them both, and after pulling a gun on Jack, tells him that he is going to do what he should have done a long time ago. However, before Desolace can pull the trigger, Ben tackles Desolace, knocking him into the artifact and knocking out everyone in the room. Jack regains consciousness sometime later and picks up Eva and apologizes for his actions, and that the artifact made him lose sight of what really mattered. As he carries Eva out, she tells him to leave her behind and save Ben, but Jack tells her that he is already dead, sacrificing himself to prevent Desolace from making any more victims. As he carries Eva out, he notices Saren also regaining consciousness and tells him to warn his people, and while he would like to stick around to see the results, he has to take care of his own.
Sometime later, while Jack is sitting in a chair watching the memorial service for Ben and Eva, he comments that Desolace was right and that the stars looked welcoming, warm, teeming with places to explore, full of knowledge and riches to be had. He also recognizes that humanity will not always be welcome and starts recording a manifesto. A dark time is coming for humanity, and humanity will be tested. And while they may not know who is doing the testing or why, humanity must meet the challenges as they have met every other one previously. They will succeed because to do anything else would be inhuman. He will watch the dark places and illuminate them, and that there is technology and tools that they not only can but must master in order to survive. This is not just to survive, but also to better humanity. Eventually, humanity will take its rightful place in the stars. As he ends the recording, Jack then takes his place as the Illusive Man, the leader of Cerberus.
So his next major appearance is in the Mass Effect Foundation shorts. A woman who calls herself Rasa wanted to join Cerberus and was granted a meeting with the Illusive Man himself. He asked her why she wanted to join, and she replied that a man once said the pro-human group stood for something. She wanted to stand for something too. The Illusive Man dispatched Rasa and Kai Leng to the Citadel to turn Shadow Broker agent Fist. Fist agreed to hand over the broker's secrets in exchange for asylum. However, the agents discovered that Fist had instead chosen to ally with Saren Arterius. Rasa chose to let Fist go to discover more about his connection to Saren while keeping his files. The Illusive Man expressed worry that Fist may sell Cerberus out, but Rasa was confident that the broker's bounty hunter, Erdnot Rex, would silence him before that could happen, tying up all loose ends.
So approximately a month after the Geth attack on the Citadel, the Illusive Man held a hollow meeting with Operative Rasa, discussing infiltration plans and her obsession with Commander Shepard. He was unperturbed by difficulties stemming from the recent shake-ups, though he had noticed the changing nature of participants in the galactic stage. He revealed to his underling that the attack on the Citadel wasn't just orchestrated by Saren Arterius, as the Council would want the public to believe, and that Shepard had actually died. His agent wanted to help investigate the latter, but he prohibited it, telling her he already had other people looking into the matter. The Illusive Man reminded her that everyone on Cerberus, in Cerberus, had a purpose when Rasa began to protest, and assigned her to another task that he deemed to be the most important one in her life.
The Illusive Man dispatched agents Rasa and Kai Leng against Subject Zero, who was rampaging at one of his training facilities. He also sent in the Blue Suns to act in case his agents failed. He earlier tried to start a hollow dialogue with her in the office of the recently slain Dr. Angersol, offering contrite words for his group's past abuses against her, but the biotic wouldn't hear anything he has to say.
The mission to capture Subject Zero was slightly botched when the Blue Suns decided to ransom her instead of handing her over. Rasa and Leng reported the development, and after hearing stern admonitions, they each received a new set of orders. The Illusive Man summoned Leng to report to him personally, while Rasa was to assist Miranda Lawson on a mission to retrieve Shepard's classified files. This mission was a success, although Rasa's cover was blown. The Illusive Man agreed with Miranda's assessment that Rasa's field work days were over. Not quite finished with the agent, he confided to Miranda that Rasa still had a purpose in Cerberus, pulling up mugshots from Shepard's prospective team: Archangel, Subject Zero, Kasumi Goto, Warlord Okir, Zaid Masani, Thane Krios, and Mordin Solos, among others. In light of recent events, he also decided to deprioritize the ongoing clone project, and that allowed Miranda to continue using it merely for testing.
The The Illusive Man is later informed by Miranda that Rasa is becoming untrustworthy as she knows too much about Project Lazarus. The Illusive Man then recommends cutting their losses if Rasa has become a liability, not minding the resources Cerberus spent on developing her. In 2184, Rasa steals the clone before it is terminated and escapes the Lazarus station. Miranda personally reports to the Illusive Man, informing him that Rasa's shuttle was on course for the Arcturus system and that she is preparing to pursue her already. However, the Illusive Man orders her to forget Rasa, believing her inconsequential compared to the coming of the Reapers and reviving of Commander Shepard.
So the next appearance for the Illusive Man was in the novel Mass Effect Ascension, which happened obviously between the first and second games. So after the attack on the Citadel, the Illusive Man did become suspicious about the claim that it was a Geth armada, knowing that no ordinary Geth attack could have been that successful. He knew that word of what had really happened would eventually filter back to him, but in the meantime he had greater concerns. Though he acknowledged Commander Shepard's role in creating humanity's new place in the galaxy, the Illusive Man also knew the suspicion and mistrust of the other races would soon close off the political channels that Shepard had opened, and decided to push ahead with his work in the Ascension project. He also ordered Pell to go to Omega to get the migrant fleet codes, but Pell betrayed him and tried to sell Julian Grayson to the Collectors. When Paul Grayson reported to the Illusive Man, he gently confronted Paul about his addiction to red sand, but agreed Julian needed to be pursued and authorized an attack on the migrant fleet itself. When the strike team, including Paul and the Quarian Golo, failed to report back, the Illusive Man assumed they had died in the attempt, as his vast web of informants did not stretch to the migrant fleet. He was surprised, therefore, to get a communique from Paul, and even more surprised when Paul calmly announced he was leaving Cerberus forever. He held the threat of revelation over the Illusive Man's head, and used it to get an assurance that Carly Sanders would be left alone. The Illusive Man was forced to agree for the sake of Cerberus's other projects.
His next appearance here is in the Mass Effect Redemption comic. The Illusive Man eventually learned the truth about the Reapers and the threat they posed to the galaxy as a whole. He knew that the galaxy's best hope was Commander Shepard. If the galaxy's hero was lost, then the rest of humanity may well follow. Therefore, he takes steps to ensure that Cerberus does not lose Commander Shepard. Unfortunately, the SSV Normandy was attacked by an unknown ship and Shepard was presumed dead. Commander's body was retrieved by agents of the Shadow Broker who were going to deliver the body to the Collectors. Therefore, the Illusive Man forms an alliance with Liara Tassoni, one of Shepard's alien associates, to find the body before the transaction could be completed and to discover the Collectors' intentions for it. He had her teamed up with a Drell named Ferrin, who was in fact an agent that Cerberus attempted to recruit many times, before he defected after hearing of the Broker's dealings with the Collectors. As the two were unsuccessful in preventing the Broker's top agent, Tazik, from escaping Omega with Shepard's body, the Illusive Man ordered Miranda Lawson to observe, desiring to wait until Ferrin could determine what the Collectors wanted with Shepard. Ultimately, Liara and Ferrin were successful in retrieving Shepard's body, though the latter became a prisoner of the Shadow Broker himself.
So then the next appearance we see him in is actually in the game Mass Effect 2. So after the destruction of the SSV Normandy by the Collectors, the Illusive Man had then gained Commander Shepard's badly damaged corpse. Over the course of 2 years, the Illusive Man devoted a substantial amount of Cerberus's resources into the Lazarus project, which was headed by Miranda Lawson and entirely devoted to resurrecting Shepard himself, or herself. However, he refused a suggestion by Miranda to implant a control chip in the commander's brain, as he specifically wanted Shepard to be exactly as Shepard was before her death. When Shepard is finally reconstituted and reawakened after 2 years, the Illusive Man explains during their first meeting that the fate of the galaxy, specifically humanity, is just as precarious as it was when Shepard died. The Council was still in denial over the existence of the Reapers and have been ignoring the recent phenomenon across various colonies in the Terminus systems, where entire populations of human colonists have vanished without a trace. The Illusive Man postulates that the disappearance of humans must be tied in some way to the threat of the Reapers, but with the vast amount of ignorance and political red tape that has been hampering the Council and the Alliance, only Cerberus can provide Shepard with the resources necessary to confront both threats. Shepard agrees to work with Cerberus for the time being, and the Illusive Man provides Shepard with the newly built Normandy SR-2 and a full crew which includes Cerberus operatives Miranda Lawson and Jacob Taylor, along with former SSV Normandy crew members Joker and Dr. Chakwas to work with Shepard.
After Shepard and the new team investigate Freedom's progress, the latest site of human disappearances, they obtain evidence that the Collectors were responsible and are abducting entire human colonies for unknown reasons. The Illusive Man admits that even he has limited knowledge of the enigmatic species, and further investigation of the Collectors' activities will require a team of combat and scientific specialists from across the galaxy. The Illusive Man then provides Shepard a list of dossiers for the Commander to recruit into his team, or her team. Unwilling to wait until another human colony is attacked, the Illusive Man leaked information of the Alliance setting up defense turrets and the location of Shepard's fellow squad member from Mass Effect at Horizon. Shepard's timely arrival prevented the Collectors from taking the entire colony. This confirms the Illusive Man's suspicions that the Collectors are very focused on locating Shepard or any of the Commander's associates. Eventually, the Illusive Man directs Shepard to the Collector ship, took out the original Normandy, supposedly disabled by a Turian patrol. The Illusive Man intentionally allows Shepard to walk into a trap, fooling the Collectors into thinking that they have the upper hand in order to gain information on how to pass through the Omega-4 relays. Shepard was not happy at the apparent betrayal, but the Illusive Man tells Shepard that he trusted that the Commander could escape safely should any danger occur. After learning that a Reaper IFF is required for safe passage through the relay, the Illusive Man instructs Shepard to investigate a derelict Reaper, which was damaged from an ancient mass accelerator weapon after a Cerberus team researching it had actually gone missing.
Near the end of the suicide mission at the Collector's base, instead of letting Shepard rig and detonate the base, the Illusive Man suggests using a radiation pulse to wipe out all living Collectors and leave the base intact in order to use the technology against the Reapers. If Shepard destroys the base, the Illusive Man is furious with the Commander's idealism, saying he knew that Shepard would choke on the hard decisions. He also asserts that the Collector technology could have been used to humanity's benefit and claims that given its goals, Cerberus is humanity. He is rebuffed by Shepard, who wasn't looking for his approval and then choosing to quit working with Cerberus. The Illusive Man tries to dissuade the Commander, citing that it is because of him that Shepard is alive. Shepard can then rudely terminate the communication or promise to win the war with the Reapers without sacrificing humanity's soul. Alternatively, if Shepard accepts the Illusive Man's suggestion and kills only the Collectors, he considers it an excellent opportunity to advance the position of humanity. Shepard can either warn the Illusive Man about using the Collector technology for anything else other than fighting the Reapers, or to agree with his idea of advancing humanity using the technology. At the end of the meeting, the Illusive Man smiles deviously while looking at a hologram of his newly acquired prize, the Collector base. And I think either way, Miranda Lawson also serves as resignation in that mission too.
Yeah, if you bring her with you, she has unique dialogue, but if you don't, I think she still quits. It's just you don't have the unique dialogue that shows her quitting. Anyways, the next sort of time that the Illusive Man is shown is in the novel Mass Effect Retribution. 1 year after the battle with the Collectors, the Illusive Man sought to learn more about the Reapers in order to combat them. He required a test subject to experiment with salvage Reaper technology. The candidate he selected was Paul Grayson, who was captured by Kai Lang, a former ensign Marine. The Illusive Man subjected his former operative to implantation with Reaper technology and would have killed him if Grayson got out of control. Before he could terminate Grayson, however, the Turian military launched a mass strike on all known Cerberus assets, facilities and agents in both Council and Terminus space, including the station where the experiment was being conducted. The Illusive Man was forced to flee, while Grayson was overtaken by the Reapers, just as Saren Artorias was, and sent on a rampage. Seeing that Grayson had become a liability, the Illusive Man dispatched Lang to finish the job. Lang ultimately succeeded in his task, ending Grayson's life at the John Grissom Academy. Lang was forced to escape afterwards, leaving what remained of Grayson's corpse in Alliance hands. The Illusive Man was not concerned about leaving Grayson's Reaper-altered body behind, knowing that men like David Anderson would be as proactive as him in preparing for the Reaper's arrival. Also, unwilling to afford a war with Omega's queen, Aria T'Loak, the Illusive Man used her suspicions of Grayson's involvement in her daughter's death to secure an alliance with her.
Yeah, that didn't turn out well in the end. So the next appearance, which has more or less been not acknowledged as canon due to inaccuracies, mistakes, and fan outrage, was in Mass Effect Deception, where we'll go through it just anyway, but just take this next little bit with a pinch of salt. So in the book, the Illusive Man is one of the main antagonists. When Gillian Grayson discovers that the Illusive Man is responsible for the death of her father, she embarks on a quest to kill him. Which, again, take this all with a pinch of salt if you know the characters. Perceiving Gillian to be a threat to Cerberus and himself, the Illusive Man dispatches Kai Leng to eliminate Gillian. Ultimately, Gillian, with the help of a biotic supremacist movement known as the Biotic Underground, capture Kai Leng and hold him ransom to the Illusive Man. The goal of their plan was not to get money, but rather to lure the Illusive Man to a trap where he could be killed. The Illusive Man eventually agrees to pay the ransom in person for the return of Kai Leng, one of his best operatives. When Gillian's group arrives at the meeting point, they see the Illusive Man and the satchels of credits for the ransom. Gillian, unable to keep her composure, summons dark energy and releases a high-powered biotic reeve on the Illusive Man. To her surprise, though, it didn't kill him. And only then does she realize that the meet was a setup and that the Illusive Man was simply present by means of a hollow image. Additionally, the satchels of credits were in fact only filled with rocks. Kai Leng catches Gillian off guard while she is processing the Illusive Man's deception and kills her. As you can see, stupid book. Even without probably you having read some of the other books, you probably can see that that's a really dumb plotline for so many.
Yeah, I mean, without going too much into it, because we've got a little bit more to go through, just the fact that, like, the fact that the Illusive, like, she even assumes that the Illusive Man would ever come in person. The Illusive Man is not an idiot. There is no reason why he would ever go to any meeting like that in person. He doesn't need to, and he won't ever do that, especially when he knows his life is in danger, so it's just very, very silly. Anyways.
And look, it hasn't been officially said that it's not canon yet by BioWare, but it basically has, so we still have put that in there because at the moment, I guess technically it's still canon.
Yep. So the next major appearance is in Mass Effect Invasion. After cementing the alliance between Cerberus and Aria, the Illusive Man dispatched research teams to construct bases on the other side of the Omega-4 relay to scavenge for Reaper technology. Unfortunately, a new type of husks called adjutants being held in captivity in these bases broke free and commandeered Cerberus vessels to begin an invasion of Omega. The Illusive Man dispatched General Oleg Petrovsky and Colonel Raymond Ash to help Aria quell the assault. Though Aria and Petrovsky amassed a fleet to defend Omega from more adjutants, Ash, who was imprisoned for defying Aria's authority and fought his way free, called the Illusive Man to confirm that he was ready to start the real battle for Omega. After Aria and Petrovsky contained the adjutant threat at Cerberus' Avernus station beyond the Omega-4 relay, the Illusive Man activates his true plan, the conquest of Omega. With Aria out of the way, the station's gangs are unable to mount a cohesive defense. Aria eventually does return by hijacking the Cerberus, which is Petrovsky's ship, and coordinates a guerrilla war against the Cerberus invaders. Petrovsky secures the victory only when he threatens to order the Cerberus fleet to destroy the entire station. The Illusive Man's gambit succeeds. With Omega under his control, Cerberus now has exclusive access to the Omega-4 relay in the center of the galaxy, which is a treasure trove of Reaper technology and potentially the safest location in the galaxy to weather the Reaper invasion.
That's a good point. The next appearance was in Mass Effect Homeworlds. So whilst Liara was using her influence as the Shadow Broker to find a way to stop the Reapers, the Illusive Man secretly monitors her progress and learns of her intent to investigate the Protheans for leads. Later, when Liara journeys to a Prothean ruin on Karje, a Cerberus phantom arrives there before her, kills the site staff, and turns its defenses against Liara's shuttle. When Liara makes it to the site and kills the Phantom, the Illusive Man contacts her via hologram. He apologizes for the Phantom's attack, but claims a rogue faction of Cerberus is responsible. He suggests forming an alliance with Liara to stop the Reapers and that they pool their knowledge, but when Liara challenges him to turn over his research first, he remains silent. Liara concludes he either wants to keep his research to himself or doesn't have any research to share. Angered, the Illusive Man insinuates that she is incapable of running the Shadow Brokers organization, and claims that the criminal underworld think the Shadow Broker has become soft and weak, insisting that Liara needs his help. Liara points out that he is the one trying to make a deal, advises him to send an army the next time he tries to kill her, and cuts him off before he can continue arguing. Again, it's a little bit of a silly story because I don't know if the Illusive Man would actually have, even he wouldn't have the resources to track the Shadow Broker. Just saying.
Yeah, and as far as everyone's aware, the Shadow Broker hasn't actually become somebody else because there is never any contact directly with the Shadow Broker. It's always through like the either via proxy or with the voice change and stuff, so nobody really knows anyway, so I don't know. Anyways, so the next and final major appearance, I guess, is in Mass Effect 3. In 2186, during the Reaper invasion, the Illusive Man appears via hologram on Mars before Shepard and Liara, who were on Mars in search of a Prothean superweapon. He began criticizing the Alliance for squandering their precious time researching the Prothean archives and reveals his intention to use the information to devise a way to dominate the Reapers and use their advanced technology for humanity's benefit, rather than just simply defeating the Reapers by killing them. Shepard calls his plan insane while Earth is under siege. The Illusive Man, unperturbed, warns the commander not to stand in the way of his plans, which Shepard brushes off. But the Illusive Man has the last laugh as an undercover agent, Ava Kor, began downloading and erasing the information, leading Shepard on a chase through the station. When Eva's escape is foiled, she's revealed to be a Cerberus synthetic who grabbed Ashley/Kaden, and the Illusive Man orders her to dispose of them. Ava was able to inflict serious damage before Shepard is able to disable the synthetic, so depending on who you saved/left to die in Mass Effect 1 is the one who gets injured here. So in most cases, I would say for us it is Ashley who gets captured, who gets wounded here, but I guess for some people it would be Kaden. The Illusive Man's methods become far more direct than those he has used in the past. He orders direct attacks on the other factions in the galaxy, attempts to stop Shepard from recovering a fertile Krogan female on Sakesh, as well as trying to instigate war between the Turians and the Krogan by detonating a bomb on Tuchanka. He orders the attack on the Citadel itself to assist Councillor Udina in taking control away from the Council, and backs the project on Horizon known as Sanctuary, led by Henry Lawson, to study Reaper indoctrination, as well as husks in an attempt to find a way to control the Reapers. Regardless of setbacks encountered, he always writes off the losses as inconsequential, even considering a human of high stature like Udina to be expendable.
During the Reaper invasion of Thessia, Shepard discovers a hidden Prothean beacon containing crucial information for identifying the catalyst to finish the Crucible. The Illusive Man, who has learnt about the beacon through the Mars archives, appears once again via hologram and attempts to sway Shepard into realizing the benefits of controlling the Reapers rather than destroying them. He points out that if the Reapers wanted to destroy all organic life, they could have done so already, and he asserts that the Reapers are simply interested in exerting their control over organics, as they have done for thousands of cycles. It is clear to Shepard that the Illusive Man has been indoctrinated, and with neither side being able to convince the other, the Illusive Man orders Kyleng to take the Prothean VI Vendetta. Ultimately, when Shepard was able to track down Cerberus headquarters, the Illusive Man was absent for the Alliance assault. Video logs found on the station show that the Illusive Man allowed himself to be implanted with Reaper-derived nanotech with no anesthetic. He also refused to allow Leng to kill Shepard, whom he doesn't want to write off as a total loss yet. He also reveals that while he does consider Shepard to be his enemy, he still has a great deal of respect for the commander and warns Kyleng to show the same respect. He later appears before Shepard as a hologram again and tells Shepard that Cerberus will never be destroyed, claiming it to be an idea and not just an organization, and then turns to Edie, noting how determined she is to destroy the Reapers. Despite Shepard's advice not to listen to him, the Illusive Man points out that she could have destroyed Ava, but instead chose to control her. Edie defends that she felt it was necessary, which made the Illusive Man feel that his beliefs are justified. As Edie manages to unlock Vendetta, the Illusive Man permits Shepard to question the VI, but advises the commander not to overstay their welcome. Vendetta reveals that the catalyst to be the Citadel, but the Illusive Man had already fled there, and thus alerted the Reapers of its intended purpose.
Shepard finds the Illusive Man on board the Citadel, which was orbiting Earth, showing signs of Reaper modifications all across the space. Using these upgrades, the Illusive Man immobilizes and controls the motor functions of both Shepard and Anderson. He then forces Shepard to shoot Anderson in the gut to prove his powers. Despite Shepard asking him to let them stop the Reapers, the Illusive Man refuses to allow the commander to undo his plans of controlling the Reapers. He claims that he is confident that he can control them, but when Shepard asks him if he is willing to bet humanity's entire existence on it, his resistance begins to falter. He desperately argues that sacrifices had to be made, but Shepard counters by saying that he had sacrificed too much. However, when Shepard convinces the Illusive Man that he is under the Reaper's control already, and tells him that he needs to resist them, the Illusive Man replies that he tried that before, shooting himself in the head. On the other hand, if Shepard chastises the Illusive Man at his lust for control, costing humanity the war, He angrily rebuts the notion and attempts to shoot Shepard, but is shot first by the commander instead. With his last breath, the Illusive Man looks through the Citadel arms and remarks how beautiful Earth is, wishing Shepard could see it in the same way.
The catalyst, which manifested itself as the young boy Shepard saw killed during the fall of Earth, explains to Shepard that the Illusive Man was correct in believing that it was possible to take control of the Reapers. However, he would never have been able to do this himself, as the Reapers were already controlling him. The Illusive Man's final appearance is in the final decision at the Crucible, where he appears in a vision as the embodiment of the control option. So, that's like the Illusive Man's story. Quite a lot of content there as well, quite a lot of appearances. And I think we've got a bit of trivia, and then we can talk about maybe some of our own thoughts and speculation.
Yep, we have a little bit of trivia here. So the first thing here is obviously the Illusive Man may be inspired by the cigarette-smoking man from the television series The X-Files. Like the Illusive Man, the Smoking Man is a member of a shadowy organization, which is called the Syndicate, who alternately aids and opposes the protagonists of the series in their endeavors. So sometimes he's a hero, sometimes he's a villain, but ultimately is chasing his own goal. So it could be a reference there.
Yeah. According to the game director Casey Hudson, the Illusive Man had his origins in an idea for the game's DLC of a character who was so powerful that they told world or galactic leaders what to do, even though they held no public office. His name came from an idea I had for a name for one of our early graphics engines, Illusive, a bit of a play on words. According to the final hours of Mass Effect 3, Hudson envisioned the leader of Cerberus looking a bit like Anderson Cooper from CNN and acting a bit more like Jack Bauer's brother Graham from the TV series 24, a fraud powerful enough to influence the President of the USA in regards to the latter.
Sheen mentions in interviews in the Mass Effect 2 documentary DVD that he would not trust the Illusive Man and that he thinks the character is a horrible man.
So that's Martin Sheen,
Martin Sheen, the
voice actor of the Illusive Man, who does a fantastic job. Whilst voicing the lines that involved the Illusive Man smoking in cinematics, Sheen would suck on a pen to simulate smoking since he doesn't smoke himself.
According to the art of the Mass Effect universe, the Illusive Man was first intended to turn into a Reaper creature during the final battle in Mass Effect 3. Eventually, this plan was scrapped since the developers wanted to give players the satisfaction of fighting a character they know rather than a random creature, highlighting the fact that the Illusive Man's weapon is his intelligence, not his physical strength.
Yeah, how did that ending work out for you guys?
No comment.
I actually think that was one of the things, if you ask me, that was missing from the ending as well. Even if you did the
there
same
are a lot of things.
Post like a final boss battle where you either take him out or maybe, I don't know, you can kill Harbinger or something, I don't know. Something, anyway, that's another video for another time, and I think we have made them. So that's kind of everything. That's all of the trivia and everything, and we've got a few thoughts that we want to talk about from our perspective. Just to start with, he's pretty obviously like an Illuminati, like Rothschild type conspiracy character, isn't he? Let's be real.
Yeah, 100%. Everyone in power sort of knows about him, but no one knows exactly who he is or how much power he holds. I think we sort of just touched on it briefly there, but the amount of power that he starts flexing in Mass Effect 3, you never really expect him to have literal armies of Cerberus operatives. I think that's one of our problems with the game, but I still think it's interesting to note that, definitely he's one of those characters where he holds a lot more power than he lets on until he actually needs to use it, basically. So it's definitely sort of a reference to the Illuminati or the Rothschilds or some other conspiracy like that.
Yeah. We went through a lot of the same story of Mass Effect Evolution, so the earliest appearance of both him and also Saren. Obviously in the Saren video that we made, and I think that one of the things we said in that video, and it stands to reason here as well, is that in a lot of ways, Saren is very pro-Turian, and then obviously ended up getting completely indoctrinated by the Reapers. And Illusive Man kind of is pro-human and getting completely indoctrinated by the Reapers, and so you can probably trace back a lot of what both their successes and rising up back to come across that monolith back in the day, I think.
Yeah, it's almost like since both of them were sort of entangled at a similar event early in their story, it sort of led them down a similar path, but in their own respective way. So yeah, Saren for the Turians and the Illusive Man for humanity, and they eventually led to a similar end point where they both got indoctrinated without even really knowing, or with knowing but not being able to do anything about it.
So I think that this kind of lends to a theory that the Reaper's cycle is obviously sped up or made easier if they can actually get hold of people like this and raise them up from within. So like causing these two like leaders, I guess, to be working from within the cycle, you know, that species cycle, that helps if they have like inside operatives basically. And this is also the theory, this also lends into like an Illuminati conspiracy theories, where they also get people that they basically raise up within, you know, high, you know, influenced worlds. I mean, listening to recent conspiracy theories, for example, after the virus, and a certain someone that was going out and telling everyone on TV that they, you know, things won't go back to normal unless everyone gets vaccinated. So there's this theory that he, for example, was put in via Illuminati. And again, you know, it's a conspiracy theory. Is it right? Is it wrong? Who knows? Who cares? I don't know. But the point is that this is not a new thing. This idea that you have these. I mean, also, have you seen the movie? It was originally a Hong Kong movie called Infernal Affairs, and then it got made into The Departed. I don't know if you've seen that movie. Martin Scorsese and like a whole raft of amazing actors and actresses, like Matt Damon, Jack Nicholson, you know, Leonardo DiCaprio, etc., etc. Basically, that's the story of very similar. So there's a mole, there's a police mole that goes into the mob, and there's a mob mole that goes into the police, etc., etc. And it's just, yeah, that's seems to be a plan, isn't it? It's an easier way to then eventually divide and conquer as well. And I kind of see, like, again, there's a lot of like, I don't know, like fascist or nationalist, you know, like eugenicist kind of story arcs during this as well, which I think is just incredible to be able to get that much like subtext and lines into something that on the face of it doesn't seem that complicated.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many different like undertones with the Illusive Man and Cerberus that could have gone in a lot of different directions, and I think we've definitely talked about it. We're a little bit disappointed with where it went in Mass Effect 3, but I still think that doesn't mean in the slightest that as a whole, as an organization and as a character, it isn't ridiculously interesting. I think the Illusive Man is definitely one of the most intriguing parts of the Mass Effect universe, and it's super cool to read through as well. There are a few other things we have here as well. Like, for example, how do you think the Lazarus Project worked? So do you think the Shepard that came out in Mass Effect 2 is the same as the original Shepard? Or do you reckon it's, you know, like a clone, different consciousness? Like, obviously this is a question we can't answer entirely, but what do you think?
I only really saw maybe a change in Mass Effect 3. I thought in Mass Effect 2 it was still pretty much Shepard from the first game. I mean, obviously there's going to be character development throughout that time as well, but yeah, I did very much get the feeling that he wasn't, not different, but yeah, I don't know. This is also where like the whole indoctrination fan theories really like hinge as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, there's some massive videos on this which I think, yeah, definitely cite the potential for Reaper Tech to be planted in Shepard at this point as a possible, I guess, catalyst for Shepard going down the indoctrination route. But I think it's pretty, I guess, it's made fairly clear in Mass Effect 2 that the Illusive Man didn't want to tamper with Shepard as much as possible, so I think they used minimal outside resources. So I don't think the Illusive Man used Reaper Tech in the project to bring him back, because otherwise that would have sort of that would have defeated the purpose a little bit. I think he was pretty adamant on not using any kind of like outside influence to affect Shepard.
Could be,
but who knows? We don't know for certain. So
also on that, so there was the story of the operative Raza, who basically stole the Shepard clone. I think it's pretty clear this is the person that comes back as Brooks in. Is it Brooks in?
Yeah,
the Citadel DLC. I think that this is pretty much considered that's who that was. So I think there's quite an interesting little tie in there. And I mean, we've talked about this in other videos as well. Citadel DLC was overall like a good little DLC, but I think that particular story arc should have probably have happened in Mass Effect 2, personally, like late stages of Mass Effect 2 or very early of Mass Effect 3, but not as part of the Citadel DLC, I think.
Yeah, it came just a little too late. Like, what was the point in it, I guess? But it definitely one of the better parts of Mass Effect 3, so can't fault it too much.
Also, talking about some other implications. First of all, what we know of the Illusive Man still doesn't, like, where's the link? This is what I mean about why it might be the Reaper's influence from the start, but where does the link, when does the Illusive Man change? Because there's this big change in evolution when he's Jack Harper to when he's the Illusive Man at the end of it, and you think, what happened? And what we know is that he basically just got indoctrinated. I'm pretty sure that's it. That's the change. And the same for Saren. Like, Saren went from, reasonable Turian soldier to youngest ever Turian Spectre somehow after this. And it's like, well, maybe this is because of the indoctrination, but to me there was no logical jump from him going from, I guess, normal guy Jack Harper to Illusive Man.
Yeah, so it sort of ties into what you were saying with the Reapers kind of, I guess, help to raise these people up. Like, they indoctrinate somebody and then they, I guess, enhance them so that they can reach these heights that make them useful to the Reapers. So, just some random Turian soldier wouldn't be that helpful, but, the first ever, youngest Turian Spectre, or, instead of just the elusive, instead of Jack Harper, they got the Illusive Man by raising him up to that point. I think maybe they enhance the people that they indoctrinate to try to make them more useful to themselves. Otherwise, I guess it wouldn't make too much sense for Jack Harper to just suddenly do almost not a 180, but definitely it's quite a leap to go from Jack Harper to the Illusive Man, definitely. And I think there must be some sort of Reaper influence there to help him.
Absolutely.
Reach those heights. Definitely makes a lot of sense to me if that is what they do.
Absolutely. A couple of comments for Mass Effect Andromeda, which obviously, in our view, should be a spin-off game, but is, I guess, officially still canon at this point. I guess the question is, Cora Harper. There's surely, again, Chekhov's gun says that this is not a coincidence that she's named not just Harper, but also Cora, which is incredibly close to, like, Dr. Evercore, the close friend of Jack Harper. Is this a reference to the fact that she's like a clone or some kind of related to the Illusive Man and also maybe named after Evercore, or is Evercore and Jack Harper her parents? This is something that obviously in future Andromeda games was one of the few sort of questions and mysteries that I was looking forward to potentially getting the answers to. Most of the rest of the game is weak, but this was one big question. And the other thing as well is, who's the benefactor from the Andromeda? Because presumably that would be something that the Illusive Man would know about, you'd imagine.
Yeah, definitely. And I think we can already see that they had something going there. There was a few, I think they were sort of secret cutscenes that you don't just get by playing the game. You have to, follow the string of cutscenes. I think it's talking with Sam. You pick the right dialogue options and stuff, and it eventually leads you to
the memory triggers or whatever that you pick up.
Yeah, so you don't just receive it for free by playing the game. You have to sort of hunt for it, I guess. And it leads to information that we wouldn't otherwise get on this benefactor, which I feel like definitely ties towards the Illusive Man or Cerberus in one way or another. But we don't know who they are, and I think that was something that would have been really, really interesting to... I wish they tied it up in Andromeda, because I don't want another game in the Andromeda Galaxy, but I feel like they were definitely planning to have that be a tie-along for the Andromeda 2 or something. So I guess we either won't ever know, or if they do create an Andromeda 2, I guess that's when we'll find out. So
and I guess I just want to finish on, I've got one final question, and it is a question, and that's all that it is, because there's no answer. Is that we know that Cerberus is the Greek, in Greek mythology, was the three-headed dog that guarded the gates of Hades. So if the Illusive Man is one of the heads, who are the other two?
Yeah, I think it's really, really interesting because, especially by the times of Mass Effect 3, there are so many different projects and assaults and different like things going on with Cerberus as an organization that I truly think that there is no way the Illusive Man was keeping on top of all of these things all by himself at the same time. It just doesn't make sense. Even the council, for example, is split into multiple leaders of the same rank so that they can, I guess, handle different things separately, respective to their own races, but also come together for the bigger issues. So, if the Illusive Man was one, then there definitely must be two other heads, right?
You would think. I mean, maybe it's just referring back to Ben Hislop and Eva Core, who are supposed dead, and Eva maybe was dead because when, like, with that robot body, possibly, I don't know. I mean, as I said, there's all these questions, and I think that something that we attempt to do in a video that we're still working on and will come out soonish is our, version of what we would do for the next Mass Effect games. And this is a question that we do actually start to pose within those games as well. So, for what we know of the Illusive Man, that's all I've got.
Yeah, I mean, that's everything we have on him at the moment. There's so many different things that you can, I guess, come to the conclusion on for the Illusive Man and Cerberus as a whole. So definitely, if you guys have any comments or theories or anything you want us to look into specifically, let us know in the comments, because we will definitely look into it. I think this is both of our favorite characters, so we'd absolutely love to do some more digging into theories and other things related to him. But yeah, with that's everything we've got. So thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
You need to put your personal feelings aside. Humanity is up against the greatest threat of our brief existence.
The Reapers.
Good to see your memory's still intact. How are you feeling?
Cut to the chase. What are the Reapers doing that made you decide to bring me back?
We're at war. No one wants to admit it, but humanity is under attack. While you've been sleeping, entire colonies have been disappearing. Human colonies. We believe it's someone working for the Reapers, just as Saren and Negeth aided Sovereign. You've seen it yourself. You bested all of them. That's just one reason we chose you.